And we're gonna roll. In 10, 9.
I did hit it the first time.
7.
It was so
6,
close.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi, welcome to this episode of Away with Words, the podcast. It's your girl Bree Stories,
And it's Aye Tati.
And it's MJM Kid.
and we have a guest.
Hello.
Tell them who you are.
Kiki, Kilwana for, people who
For the
know
people
me.
who know. Period. So Tati is hosting a very special Mother's Day episode. We had some Mother's Day episodes a couple of years back, and actually, Tati wasn't on the podcast cast at the time when we did our moms, so we should probably we should bring that back we should bring that back.
That'd be great.
Maybe
Bring our mamas on here?
Yeah, we should bring them on together.
Oh,
So
y'all
fun
like...
fact, my mama and her mama are actually cool. Even though Tati mama a little too wild for my mama. My mama be trying to hang and she can't. But that's what I love me some hot girl Tammy. But we should definitely bring that back. So this year, instead of doing a our mamas episodes, we're just gonna do some mamas. I'm the only not mama on the table. I got plants. I'm a plant. I'm a plant.
I thought you said you got plans. I was like, oh. I was like, you got plans?
Congratulations, y'all pregnant.
No, I knew it was something to this hoodie.
Right. What if I was just like 6 months
Just
pregnant?
hiding a bump?
That would be insane. That would be really crazy of me. And I'd have been over here
It
drinking.
would be really crazy of you
normal.
to be hiding it like from me, though.
That would
really
be crazy.
And me.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, I could get that.
But that would be really crazy. So, yes, this is our special Mother's Day episode. Yesterday was Mother's Day if you are watching this in real time. So, happy Mother's Day to you and yours.
Happy Mother's
Do we want to
Day.
break some ice, Ty?
Yes, we can break some ice. So, our icebreaker today is, was there a TV family that you wished growing up you had been a part of?
A TV family.
Yes. And, like, more specifically, maybe because, like, you love the mom or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Or a movie family.
Okay. Okay, so my very first thought was living single. Hear me out, because I know they're not like family in the actual house, but the relationship that, fun fact, if y'all don't know, Queen Latifah's real mom played her mom in Living Single.
Oh, I did not know that.
And the relationship that, so they always like did episodes where it was like the contrast between Regina and her mom and Khadijah and her mom. And Khadijah and her mom were always so like tight and cool and like genuinely loved and liked each other. So
Yeah.
that would be a cute one if I was like Khadijah's little sister on her mama's side.
Okay.
So on her mama's side?
For me, I would say the Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
But just because I want to say, I love how they joke. I loved how, I guess, Will Smith joked around so much. So it was always kind of playful atmosphere.
Hijinks.
Right. And then,
With the
of
first
course,
mama. I'm like, with the first mama,
yes.
right? Not
The real
lady.
Unveil.
the first
Yeah.
one. And then,
No shade.
I love the fact that, they have money. So,
Period.
I mean, I like that family atmosphere and just to play around and go to be in a big house and just, they wasn't even like brothers and sisters, but cousins, and just to have that relationship. I thought it was great. So,
I love that. Yeah.
I always loved The Cosby Show.
You did.
I loved that. I kind of feel like the same reason. Like, they were just always, like, making jokes about each other.
Yeah.
Or, like, it was always silly. I loved.
It's a fun house.
Yeah, and I loved the relationship. What's the woman name? Her name not Claire? Is her name?
Yeah,
It's Claire.
it's Claire.
It is Claire. Yeah, but I loved Claire and Cliff. They were, like, adorable. And I loved her whole energy, period. Like, she was just bad.
She was.
Like, and she was a lawyer, and they were black, and it was just good times. And I would have loved to learn a lesson. I always wanted my parents to turn the house into, like, real life and make me have to like rent an apartment in it and do all the stuff that they did.
Like, okay, you grown.
Yes, like
Your
I
rent's
loved
due.
when they did that for theater. Like, just imagine coming home one day and your whole house is just empty and they didn't just flipped everything upside down. Like, that's a lot of work just to prove a lesson.
It's
So
Yeah, that is crazy.
I'm down for that. Yeah, that's
Not you
my
wanted
ice.
that. What about you, McGee?
Oh yeah. I don't really know. I never really thought about something like that.
That's because your house is perfect.
Oh, please stop it.
Yeah.
No, you have amazing family, like
Yeah,
an
I do.
amazing family. I mean, shout out to ours, like they're
Yeah.
they're cool,
How's that cool, girl?
like they're cool. But
I just probably say smart guy, sister. Honestly,
oh,
everyone was a good family. They all like there was a lot of support there.
yeah, I fuck
Everybody.
with that.
Yeah,
I really like the sister house.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
It was
love
cute
them.
and
They
fun.
were a great mashup.
it was perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
I'm for it.
All right, let's check in. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Don't jump at it.
I'll start. So, physically, I am feeling. I don't know how I'm feeling physically. Physically, my mouth is dry,
Yeah.
so I'm feeling that. Emotionally, I feel content in this moment in time.
Word.
My attention is on birthday season because it's still going. Mine's is over, and now I'm heading into my daughter, so I'm just trying to make it out alive. And spiritually, I feel blessed.
Oh, good.
Word. I'll go. Physically, I am feeling. Physically, I feel joy in my heart space. Emotionally, I feel joy. My attention is currently on. What is my attention currently on? I think my attention is currently on a new era of hoe. Like, how does this version of me be a hoe?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So I'm
Yeah,
excited to figure that out. Or to just watch it unfold, not like strategize.
Yeah.
Like
Pen and paper.
it's just papers all over the table. Like, okay, let's figure this out. No, I'm interested in that though. Spiritually, I'm feeling very much at peace. I just did a roughly 36-hour fast of complete silence. It sounds crazy.
Are you kidding me?
No speaking, no phone, no television, no computer, no nothing. And
Wait, how long?
roughly 36 hours. So from 8 p.m. Thursday night to 8 a.m. this morning. I
can't
know.
believe this.
It's crazy, but it was so I'll share this with y'all. I had wrote down in my journal that kind of like subconsciously bracing myself, like, oh, you're not going to have any distraction from your mind. Like, this will be a good time to reframe some negative thoughts. Like, I had kind of went into it already thinking that. But I came out of it and really more than halfway into it, I was like, wow, my brain is such a safe space. It's such a beautiful and silly and brilliant place to like be in and just observe. Like, I'm just such a silly girl. Like, I thought I was just going to be like, oh, girl, don't think that. I thought I was going to be thinking dark stuff. I don't know what I thought.
Yeah.
But I was just like making jokes and singing songs. Like, it's just,
I love making jokes. Singing
like,
songs.
for real, it was so silly and so sweet in like this really nice way. And I thought that it was hard. Don't get me wrong. Because of course I'm like, it got to be like 4:00 yesterday. And I was like, wow, okay. like, okay. Wow. Like, I kind of want to, but yeah, I had my phone on Do Not Disturb and just put it like in another room. And it was really nice though.
How inspiring. Go girl.
Yeah, I feel good. So that's it.
Yeah.
So
Kiki.
physically, y'all about to say y'all gonna have to help
Yes,
me.
I will. Physically, we got you.
Physically, I feel kind of, I want to say anxious, and I've been going to the gym recently, so I'm kind of ready to get back to the gym today.
Nice.
What's next?
Emotionally,
I'm excited. I've been on the watching y'all podcast, and this is my first time on here, so I'm a little excited, nervous. Okay, so
you're doing great.
You're doing great.
Attention.
My attention is on. I want to say family and a special someone.
Ooh.
So
Oh, hell yeah.
I know that's right.
looking forward to spending time with my family and someone else today. So yeah, that's what my attention is on.
Period.
And spiritually, I'm gonna go with blessed. I feel blessed.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love that. McGee.
Yeah, physically have a slight headache. I think I just haven't eaten enough today.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be like, I think I just need another shot.
I need one, actually. That'll probably help.
Need a first one.
Yeah, exactly. Emotionally, lots of joy in my heart right now. My attention is currently on, I'm pretty present in this space right now, and that feels good to me.
Mm-hmm.
And spiritually, covered.
Yeah.
Love it.
In these streets.
Love it, love it, love
So
it.
do y'all have any questions for me about like mom stuff?
Mom stuff.
I mean,
Right.
you're definitely in the conversation.
Okay,
You
great.
definitely can answer every question. Well, the majority of every question that
that
I
makes
ask
it
you today.
interesting.
You can
Oh.
still, yeah, you can definitely answer these questions. So this episode is definitely all about mothers and dedicated to Mother's Day, which is why I had to bring my oldest and bestest friend on this show, who's my
Hey, Kiki, what's up,
first,
girl?
outside of my family, like my first experience of seeing motherhood, like up close and personal, and watching her
Right.
navigate motherhood. And she's always been an amazing mother. She's a great mother
thank
to my
you.
godchildren. So, my first question for both of you is, as a child, what was your idea of motherhood? What did you think? What did you think motherhood was? Like, from watching, different role models, or even like watching TV, whatever it was. Like, what did you think it was? Did you think it was hard? Did you think it was easy? Did you think it was just whatever? What did you think?
As a child, I had zero interest in motherhood and like being a mom. I thought that I don't want to say anything sad. Well, no. That would be parenthood. So never mind. Motherhood to me, and it always seemed too sacrificial for me. It always and I think I didn't really have a grasp on this obviously when I was a child, but like the older I got and the more I noticed just like the tethering between a mom, and not all moms are like this, and I hope that y'all aren't like this to this extent, but like my mom is extremely attached to us. And it was really off-putting. It was really like, I don't want to be like attached to anybody, like in this like in this like choiceless way, because obviously you fall in love, whatever, but I can always look at even my husband and be like, I'm gonna go. Like, that's not really like, that's not a thing that you can do. You can't look at your 4-year-old and be like, you stay there. I'm gonna go figure this out. Like, you have to tend to this person.
Some others do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
Some
and
people
I
do.
really, I love and commend my mom so much for the way that she raised us and for the love that she does, because that comes from a pure place. But it always looked to me like, ooh, I don't want to be attached to anybody to that extent. And I think that's all I thought of.
And you thought that
It
as
was.
like a child.
Yeah, I
growing
didn't
up.
want kids.
That's interesting.
I didn't even play with baby dolls. My mom would be like, don't bring my baby no baby doll. She's going to tear that thing's hair off and not play. Because I did
Well,
not.
she said, oh, wow,
It made me uncomfortable.
Because it's so common. You
Yeah.
know, you're a little girl, you give a little girl a baby doll. I
Yeah.
feel like that's kind of like, I want to say setting them up for the future
It's
as far
weird.
as being a mother. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, Kiki?
I always, looking at my mother, she was always happy, but I can tell that she was struggling. Like, you could see, the
Yeah.
struggle that your mother goes through and the things that you have to endure even as a kid, and the things that are right before your eyes. So I did see her struggle a lot, but she always, I feel like, kept it under wraps. Like, she always was happy. She was always playing. We was always getting up, doing things, and having, like, going places. So I am blessed to have a mother like that, and what she has done for me and my brothers. I also looked at my grandmother, both my grandmothers, but mainly my father's mother, because she was a wife, and she was basically a stay-at-home wife and took care of the house, and she cooked and she cleaned, and I loved that. I love my grandma. So it was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to be just like her. I want to stay in the house. I want to, provide for my family, cook and clean, and just like being with my mother, we didn't have that family element just because my father wasn't there. But, you know, when I go to my grandmother's house, my grandfather's there, and the kids, you know, her kids come over and grandkids come over. So I saw, you know, everything, and I was like, okay, this is what, you know, I want. So I am very into tradition. So I am like, I want to be a traditional mother, as far as I want to have the kids, I want to have the husband, I want to cook and clean, and I want, when my kids get older, to come back for holidays and family events and stuff like that. So definitely looked towards my grandmother a lot and thought that, yeah, like this is, you know, this is the type of family and element that I, you know, want. So
I love that. So sweet.
yeah. What about you, Tatiana?
I definitely, growing up, I think looked at motherhood as almost like how do I say? I looked at it as like a role that was played, but because I grew up in a household like with my father and like with my brother and stuff, so I only saw it in the scope of, you're doing your part because he's doing his part, you know? So I only saw it as like a combined effort, or, you know, even when I would look on TV and stuff, I felt like my house kind of mimicked a lot of the situations, or like even like the little like stereotypes and stuff that will play out with like the dad that want to come home and like sit on the couch and watch TV because he was at work all day, and the mom's mad. And so it was just all kind of like amusing to me. Like I was just like, this is great. Like, you know, I don't even think as a child, like how you said, you really saw the sacrifices and saw some of the unhealthy attachment, or just like you saw all those things. As a child, like I didn't take any of those things really seriously, I don't think, or really to heart. It wasn't until I got older that I really could see, or I guess not necessarily see, because I felt like I would see hardships and see the things that were going on, but I still just felt like, I don't know, they got it. Like they they're gonna figure, exactly, literally, like they're grown ups, you know, they have kids, so they're gonna figure it out. And then so it took me getting older, probably like into like my teenage years. I feel like really when I started truly seeing different things that were like going on in the house, or how hard things could be, and then like experiencing, you know, when I graduated high school, when my parents split up, like seeing like the single mom aspect, and then really starting to see in certain cases where it was clear like how much more in a lot of scenarios that my mom was doing than my dad was doing, because versus where before I would look at those things and be like, well, you're doing all this because he's doing whatever he's supposed to be doing. Like, that's why you have all this on you. But then when they split, and then I'm still looking at like, oh, but you still got all this stuff on you. Like, y'all didn't split up responsibilities like when y'all split up, you know? So I had to get older, I feel like, to really see the, like the hardships I feel like that could come with like motherhood and stuff. Like it really took me more time. And I kind of touched on it a little bit in what I just said, but did you guys feel any like relatability like in the media, like with what was in your household versus like the things that y'all would see on TV or see in movies? Did you ever see like yourself or see your own situations and be like, oh, okay, like that's us. Like this is.
Yeah, as told by Ginger. Ginger's mom was a nurse, and she had one brother, and her mom was single, and I was like, this is literally my house. And she always was writing in her diary. I really thought like me and Ginger were the same person.
I love that. I love that. That's the main thing.
Like
that popped
literally,
up
the only
into your
difference is the fact
head.
that her brother was younger and mine was older, but it just felt like the same exact dynamic.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
I didn't find a TV show or anything that was relatable. I think that's why I kind of. Like in my household, my mother, even though, you know, I love being there with my mother, I always still looked at my grandma, you know, when I was with my grandmother, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want, instead of, you know, just a single motherhood, and see my mother struggle and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I see, you know, I saw the hardship and what was going on, and I was like, yeah, that's not what I want. You know, so I just focused on what I, you know, how I wanted to be and my family to be as I got older. So, but again, I didn't have a TV show, anything that I felt like I couldn't relate
See
to.
yourself in.
Yeah.
I feel like I related so much to Roseanne. I felt like had they been black,
Yeah.
that was the most, to me, and still to this day, I
Yeah.
think one of the most realistic depictions of a family and them being, I mean, not necessarily broke, but
Right.
not having, like much money, everybody working like regular ass jobs, struggling to pay the bills, but making it work. To me, that household looked the most like what my household looked like, minus all like the crazy shit. But that,
All the white people hijinks, but yeah.
yeah,
Same.
literally.
Same.
But yeah, minus all that, that to me was the closest thing. And I was obsessed with that show probably
was a good show.
because of that. And I used to, and I feel like I
It's a
used to
great
tell my
show.
parents and
Yeah.
stuff that too. Like, I'd be like, I love Dan and Roseanne. I'm like, I
Yeah.
love them. I think they're great. Well, both of you both kind of like said this already. Like, did you aspire to be a mother?
No. I just got that thought, like the twinkle of a thought of not even I want to be a mom, but I could see myself. That just happened maybe 3 years ago through therapy. Honestly, through a lot of like shedding of what I came to believe, like basically getting to a point where it was like, okay, if I eliminate all of the fear, could I see this? All of the things that I say, like, I don't want to do this, like any of those reasons, if any of them are rooted in fear, if I took all of those away, could I see this? And I was like, yeah, I could. If I took away, I'll spare y'all. But yes, I just had that thought about 3 years ago. And I still teeter with it. I still feel some of the stuff is starting to resurface where it's like, now this isn't really from a place of fear. It's from a place of genuine disinterest. Yeah. I still don't think I'm that interested in being attached to another human in that way. It just seems crazy. Even like watching you, Tati, like you're one of my closest friends, and we talk about all the time, like how you are the epitome of logic. Like you're such a logical person.
Right.
And even like little stuff, like we'll be upstairs drinking and stuff, and we'll just say like, just go into your phone and just like checking on, like just having that on your mind 24/7, and I know it is insane to me. I cannot imagine that. Like I cannot imagine like 24/7. I'm never not thinking about worrying about or just considering another. It's crazy.
I feel the same about that.
It's very crazy.
You're like, yeah.
All those things.
For me, I always wanted to be a mother. Yeah. Like, not necessarily, I wouldn't say not necessarily a mother. I always wanted to have a family. So I always wanted to be that wife. And then, I feel like, well, motherhood comes along with that. But I never saw myself as being a single mother. I never thought, well, hey, what if, this family dynamic didn't work out? What if, I was just a single mother. Never crossed my mind. Yeah. Never at all. Until, it happened. I was a teen mother. But to be a teenage mother and to be a single mother, it's hard. And it all hit at one time. And it's just like, but, once you have that child, it's like you are you're doing everything for that child. So it's everything else, the way that you might feel, it kind of goes out the window because now you're doing what you have to do. But it's kind of like second nature now. Now that I have my son now, it's like, he's crazy. But it's like,
he's crazy.
It's like, man, I'm doing this all over again.
He's not crazy.
It's even with the
so
second
much more
one.
insight.
Yeah. Even I have my kids 10 years apart. So even with the insight, it's still different. It's a total difference.
Yeah.
And after I had my son, I was like, what the hell? What is this? I'm like, my daughter was nothing like this. So it's just a whole nother experience. So
Christian
they
is a
say
little
that
crunk.
about second kids.
Christian is a little crunk.
Yeah.
They do say that about the second one. Like especially if that first one did you well and was calm and all this stuff. The
Yes.
second one is gonna give you the flood.
And now I
Did
would
you give
never,
the floods?
She's said
I would
that.
never have another one. So it's like after my son, I was like, yeah, I don't.
You
I
did
would-
it.
Well,
You did it. It's over
I'm happy
with.
you mentioned you being like a teen mom and stuff, because I wasn't gonna volunteer that information. I was just on waiting to see if you said something about it. But I wanted to ask. I know that being a mother and being like a first time mother, period. I know even for me, like I was older, I was in my 20s, but I still felt like this loneliness or feeling like I was by myself and that I was just like going through something like all alone. And being a teen mom, you know, how did that feel for you? Because I feel like I look back, like once I had my child, I would like look back on times and just be like, man, like I was just so like Kiki was just going through like all these things and going through like this world. And I was just like, I don't know, like it was just like it was like it was happening, but it wasn't happening. It was like I would just be like, oh hey, Corinne, you know, like I smile in her
Come to play
face,
with
give
the
her a hug,
baby,
right?
right.
You
And
had
I'd
a
be
best
like,
friend who
all
had a
right.
baby, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
And
inner Kiki,
I'm gone. Like I was moving around through like high school life like regular, and like, you know, in college and all that stuff. Like did you feel alone or like feel like you didn't have, you know, friends that understood since all your friends were kids?
Yeah, I definitely felt alone a lot. So, but I try to. That's what family comes in. Like my mother, she was always there, and so her being always there, she's always pushed me to anytime that you invited me somewhere. She's like, yeah, go ahead. You know, like
pivotal.
I have the baby. Like go do you and go be a teenager because that's what you still are. So she was there from day one, and she always helped me with everything. But at times, yeah, it was still lonely. Like I would call you, and you'll be like maybe getting ready to go out or whatever. So you'll be, you know, I'll be talking. I'll be like, ooh, you know, I kind of think like, man, I wish that I was with her, or I wish, you know, I was doing the same thing. But then it's like, you know, they get back to reality, and it's like, well, you never, for me, it's like, you know, I don't regret, you know, having my child. So I just always kind of thought about, well, you know, it is what it is. And so like I send you and Lauren stuff, like send little videos, and you be like, oh, that's cute. Or sometimes you'll be, you know, out doing, you know, whatever. So it's like when I didn't, like, I felt left out when I, like, kind of didn't get a response from you or didn't get the reaction I thought I would get. Like, I'd be so excited for these, like, milestones to happen. And then to share them with somebody, but you're young, still out doing, you know, what you're doing. So it's not like it doesn't affect you the same way it affected me. So it's like, you're probably like, oh, Kiki, you know, Corinne did this, you know, it's exciting, but it's just not the same. Right. It's not as exciting as it would be for me. Right. But now that you are a mother, it's like when you became a mother, I thought about that also, because I know how I felt, even though you wasn't a teen mom or anything, but motherhood in general can get lonely because you are going to be there just with that child. And you're not going to have people to rely on 24/7. Even if you are with that child's father, it's not the same. It's just basically you and that baby. So yeah, it was definitely lonely. And I always thought about once you had your child, I was like, I want to make sure I was there for you, you know, so you wouldn't feel that loneliness.
I've said on this show so many times that, you know, when I had Cassidy, that, you know, I was very like down and like depressed a lot, but I also felt like, I don't know how to say, it was like I blamed myself. Like I was mad at myself for like putting myself in or getting myself in the situation. So it was almost like I felt like, I don't know, like this is a part of it. Like you did this like to yourself. So like this down or this sadness that you're feeling is a part of it now. Like you just have to deal with it. And I would say it all the time that like my friends are the only reason that I somewhat like stayed afloat. Like even when it just came to like talking on the phone and stuff. Cause like my mom, that's when I started being on the phone 24/7, like almost the entire day. And my mom would like, she would be so irritated. Like, you're always on the phone. But I would be like, this is my
What am I supposed
lifeline.
to do?
Yeah, like this is literally my lifeline. Like I'm not going anywhere. You know, like talking to y'all or sitting on the phone with y'all, or like you said, like I know, you know, even though I was younger, like I would always try to like make it a point periodically to be like, Kiki, you're coming, or like I'll be telling y'all like, well, I'm gonna invite Kiki, or I want Kiki to come and stuff, because I wanted you to still be like with us. Like I never wanted to like lose the friendship or let it be like, well, because our lives are different, you know, we don't stay in contact, or like I don't see her all the time. Like her and Corinne, they stayed with me downtown like when I was in school. Like I always still wanted, like if she could come, I wanted her to be there. And like and I felt like my friends, all of you guys are the same way. Like you were very understanding about the fact that half the time I couldn't come. Right. Like I was missing birthdays and stuff, but it never stopped the, if you can come, like I want to see you, or like this is happening a month from now. Like like if you think you can make it, like please come. And I think that's so important for moms, is your friends. It's like your friendships and stuff. We kind of touched on this too, like as we've gotten older, has your views changed about like mother? I know for me, like when I was younger, I wanted kids, and now that I have one, I'd be dead ass like I would never do it again. Like love my child to death, like I said, no regrets, love her to death, best thing ever, but I'd be like I would never do this again. But I also think it's coming from the scope of being a single parent as well. Like I don't know how I would feel about it had my experience been different. But because it wasn't, I'd be like, the older I get, I'd be like, kids, that's insane, who does this? Like all the things that you're saying is how I be looking at it. Like I be like, who does this in their right frame of mind? Like,
I was gonna say something about that too, because the way she was saying what she was thinking and the way she was saying, I was thinking like, like you should stick to it.
But I do also think that I don't know if I think this, but I always wonder and want to make myself open to the possibility of me feeling different while in love. Because love changes everything. Like, as much as I know for a fact that I spent my whole life not wanting any kids, I remember being 19 and, like, writing down, like, this is what our baby's name would be. Like, you know, little shit like that. But that wasn't coming from a real space of wanting kids, but it came from this, like, pure place of being open to anything when you love somebody. And when you know somebody loves you. And now that my scope around love has changed so much and grown, and I'm so comfortable now with my boundaries and really trusting myself and what I want and what I'm attracting. And if I'm in that space, nigga, you can have a million kids probably.
Wow.
Like, you know, like, like if it's right. But I do believe there are certain things that I'm like really, really firm on. Like mom, you know, all of our parents used to say, well, our mamas and stuff, I used to always hear women say like, mama's babies, daddy's maybes. And that goes for even men that are in the house. Like the mama always feeling like, regardless, this kid is dependent upon me. I am the one feeding this baby. I am the one with the baby. I am the person that is getting calls from the school. Like, it's me. Yeah. And that's something that I am happy that I've had exposure to, because I know that I don't have to tolerate that. I know that when I get into a space where I am with someone, and if we get to that point where we both mutually want a kid, that person absolutely needs to do way more than just the bare minimum, or not even more than the bare minimum. Like, the bare minimum is not even going to be thought of. I was just watching a video. This is so sweet, y'all. There was this woman. There's a woman, and her husband, but that's the thing. They have resources and things like that, too. Privilege is a motherfucker. Like, you have to have the resources to do things the way that you want to do them. But basically, her husband was able to take paternity leave, and he takes, like, the full night shift. And that's such, like, in your brain, you're like, duh. Like, why wouldn't he do that? But so many parents, so many moms don't have that. Right. Have a father who, like, in the middle of the night when the baby is crying, I don't even want you to expect to get up. I am always going to get up. Right. And that small notion of something, I'm like, I know how much that makes a world of a difference, because I have friends and family members who that's like the main thing that goes. Like, your sleep and just like so much of your livelihood and your rest. And those are the things that, like, I don't want to hold on to, because that's the type of stuff that makes it so off-putting to me. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sacrifice my life. I don't want to da-da-da. But I also know that it doesn't have to be that way. Right. For any of us moving forward, because now we know better.
Go girl.
I know when I had my daughter, just to think about, since I was a teen mom, all the things that I missed out on. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't. If I could change it, I definitely would. I would wait. And then when I had my son 10 years later, I basically thought the same thing. Like, why did I, start all over? Why did I, do this? I'm like, I could have just stuck with one child because my daughter was 10.
Yeah.
So it's like, you kind of almost there.
Yeah.
And so my son, he's so wild.
He's crazy. He's wild.
I love that.
So many adjectives for this kid.
Yes, so I definitely think that. I'm like, yeah, I could have just stuck with one.
That's the thing. That's the thing, though, because my mother was also a teen mom, and she had me and my brother pretty close together. We're only 3.5 years apart. So, but my mom, by the time she was 30, and some of her other friends just started having kids, she like child babysitter. My son watched my by that time it was like
that's
so
it's like
exactly. So it's like either way you slice it, like it's pros on either side. I think.
Yeah, because that's the.
And honestly, our bodies, I hate thinking about this because I don't want to say this for my body. I don't want to put this on myself. But biologically, our bodies are much more in a comfortable space and capability to carry and have a child when we're younger than the older we get. And a bitch like me who's like, oh, I'll wait till I'm fucking 40 if God say the same, and I do feel that way. If it happens that way, great. But I'm also have to keep in mind all of the physical risks and things that come with waiting too. So it's pros on either side.
So, to piggyback off something you said, the mother's baby, daddy's maybe. That's definitely true. But I do want to say that as far as the mother is always the first person the child turns to, I want to say that is very true and true in most cases. But I have seen, especially black men, taking upon the role of that child going to their father first, or being that child's first choice instead of the mother's, because you do have mothers out here that I want to say are slacking because they could be in a home and they could be together, but maybe put their job first or their career first, and the father is the one that's at home with the child, or they just maybe turn to daddy first, or and I see a lot of black men picking up that role more nowadays than women, and I love it. I love that a woman can go chase her career, and the father can be the main caretaker of the children. It's nothing wrong with switching those roles, and I just love the fact that it's getting. Is basically turning around nowadays. Yeah,
and I think that those things can exist in seasons too, right? It doesn't have to be like my whole life, my daddy did this and my mama did this. It can be like, this is the season that my mama was in at the time, and she grinded while I was young, and my dad was always there. But then when I was in middle school, my dad got to chase his dream. Like it can, if you have, I think that the foundation is having a good dynamic with the person that you co-create with, because then y'all can create whatever y'all want for that kid,
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that.
I feel like hopefully both parents are just supposed to be striving to be the best parents they can be, period.
Yes,
like it shouldn't even have to be based around because somebody else is slacking. Right. So now I'm going to try to do more. You should already be at 100, which is expected from most mothers. It's like, it's not like we, mothers will see the father slacking and then it's like, oh, okay, so I got to do. It's like we're already at 100. If anything, now we're trying to be at 150 because because my child, or you feel like your child isn't getting something else. But I feel like when both parents are already putting in that, it's just a cohesive thing. It doesn't even have to get talked about, or it's not even necessarily a bad thing or looks like the mother or whoever is slacking because they're working hard, because it's a team effort. Yeah. It's I understand what you're doing right now. And it doesn't mean any less of you or something, or you're not working as hard. My last two questions you can answer if you would like to. But my last two questions is, first, what do you think is the most challenging part about being a mom?
No, I'm okay.
The most challenging part to me is knowing if what I'm teaching my children is the right thing to teach them, and am I teaching them enough? Am I doing my research as far as people say a lot now, like you are supposed to teach your kids what you didn't get taught. So am I making that effort to learn what I didn't get taught and to, teach my kids what I didn't get taught? Yeah. I feel that that's very hard because I want them to, especially my daughter, I want her to know everything. You always want your kids to know more than what you know and learn more than what you have learned so they could be ahead of the game. So I'm just, I feel like that's a very hard part in motherhood, and the fact that just for myself, just getting time for myself, like alone time or, just taking care of myself, because I feel very strongly about you need to take care of yourself first as a mother before you can take care of your children. So if I'm not at my 100% or my, feeling just my best, I'm not going to be able to take care of my kids and make them feel, at their best. Yeah. And then I feel like, your kids always piggyback off your emotions. So if they see mom is not doing great, they're going to be, feeling like, yeah, and then they have, the kids always have the feeling like, well, I see, mom is probably not feeling the best, so I'm just going to, try to do something to make her happy or whatever. And I feel like your kids shouldn't want to feel obligated to cheer you up or make you feel happy, or even though that's what they do, but you should you have to take care of yourself first. Absolutely. So I feel like the hardest thing is just those two things.
I love that.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing to me is kind of like the last thing you said, which is that there is no off. There is no there's no break time. There is no, you go through, something crazy, or like your child gets sick, or just any like high tense like moment or chaotic situation. It's not like at the end of it, then it's not like, okay, and now you're off. Like it's not like you dealt with it, you accomplished this thing and you made it through and now you get a break. It's like, no, you're just gonna, like wake up and do like a milder version of it tomorrow. And I think that to me has been the most difficult thing, because I think that, like Kiki said earlier, being a mother, like for me too, was like second nature. I brought my baby home and it was just like, I was a mom. Like I didn't think twice about it. And, I know that I have it in me to just like keep going and going. But I have noticed in like more recent times that you do get burnt out. Yeah. Like you definitely get burnt out and you get like worn down, and that's when you like catch yourself like in like these depressed moments or like these sad moments, or these moments where you're just like, I don't know, like I just been in a bad mood lately or whatever, or you're constantly sleeping and you're just like, I'm just always tired, and then eventually we, me and Kiki have like talks about things like this all the time, and eventually you always like shake it off and like you get out of it. But it's still like when you look back on it though, you still never had a break though. Yeah. Like you still never like chilled and like and took a breath. Time just keeps going, and so eventually it's like, well, like it's time to move on. Like it's time to not like be down anymore. And I think that's like the only thing, and I feel like that comes more to, like when you are doing it like by yourself.
And then self-care, like when you were saying that, when Cassidy was younger, all you used to do was be on the phone. That was part of your self-care.
It was.
Part of you taking care of yourself. And then I feel like also this question that you asked, I feel like it kind of go in stages, because the stage I'm in with my kids, even though Christian is younger, Cassie's older than Christian, but I have a 15-year-old. So I think it comes with your kids growing. What are you looking now to basically elevate your kids, or are you trying to teach your kids something different at the stage and age that they are in? Because what your... Like, I was just thinking, because the way you answered your question is basically the stage that you're in, as far as Cassie's age and the level that she's in. And my answer is kind of different because of how old Corinne is.
That's true.
So it comes in stages.
It definitely,
Everything comes in
yeah.
stages.
I agree, because since the day I popped her out, I've been saying, like, I can't wait for her to be 10. Literally in the hospital.
Yeah.
I was like, I cannot wait for her to be, like, at least 10.
Are you
Like,
serious?
I've been ready to get past.
The moment I pop Corinne
That's
out,
the
that's what you've been
stage.
saying too.
Yeah, I always wanted Corinne to be a teenager. I'll be ready for the kids to grow up, y'all. Like, I'll
Are
be
you
like,
sure
y'all
about
cute,
that?
but I'll be ready.
That's
I'll be
crazy.
ready. But, and also my other thing that is the hardest part to me is being so, like, fearful, like, of their protection. Like, that is a constant, like, when you talked about, like, your mom, like, you being, like, so attached to somebody. When I first had Cassidy, I was like, what I hated about it, like, what I didn't like was how exposed I felt. Like, how now you have something. I think Jay-Z said it too in like an interview, but he talked, like, about how now you're just, like, exposed. There's an easy way for somebody to attack you.
Yeah.
There's an easy way for you to be hurt, you know, like, and it's just so, it just makes you so vulnerable, like, to the
Yes.
world and to everything that's happening, because you're looking at, like, this other little person, like, oh my God, like, I don't want nothing to happen to you, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's the other biggest, like, hardest part to me, is being constantly concerned or
Yes.
constantly
It's like,
worried.
Oh, this is too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's the stuff I be thinking about. I'm like, oh my God.
It's
I'm
constant.
Like, I'm
It's
30 years
ridiculous.
old, and the way that my mama be
What?
acting,
Are you kidding me? Yes.
I'm like, girl,
She don't be sleeping when I'm out.
no.
Like, can you please
I
let
have
me know
not.
when you're
I
headed
have not
home?
lived in the same house with my. Like, literally, I have to. I've stopped doing this because I'm just not about to lie to nobody for nobody's comfort. But
Right.
before, when I was like 26, 27, I would lie. I would be like, okay, it's 8:45. Let me tell my mama good night now, because I'm about to go out, and I know she will not go to sleep until she knows I'm
Exactly.
home.
Exactly.
That's insane.
Exactly.
That's crazy to me.
Oh, my mama be asleep.
I know.
That's good.
That's what I'm saying. That's why my mama can't hang with
Seriously.
Hot Girl Tammy, because Hot Girl
Shit.
Tammy fends for herself.
She gonna go to
Exactly.
sleep. She gonna like. She not on some like literally like.
Tell me to be out, like,
I'm
go
not
down,
gonna
right?
go to sleep until you come in this house.
No.
Oh,
my mother,
nah.
to this day, to both of us, my brother and I would have conversations with shit. He'd be like, he'll call me, and if I say I'm going out, he'd be like, you ain't tell mama that, did you? I'm like, no, I did not, and I'm not going to. But now I just be like, I am so, and I hate how it comes off to my mom, because my mom, she'll take it all so personally and be like,
Right.
wow, I really sacrificed everything for you, you little bitch.
You don't even want to let me
And
know
I'll
till
be
you get in the
like-
house.
And I'll be like literally, and I just be like, girl, I'm like, I'm taking care of myself. I'm doing what feels good to me. Like, I tell her straight up now, like, I suggest you do the same, girl, because I'm not losing no sleep when
She
you
gonna
go out of
watch this
town.
podcast. She's like, oh, so you was lying?
No, she knows. We already
okay.
talked about this. I told her I'm not lying to you
Like, she
anymore.
knows
If
I
you hit me
lie.
up, I'm not gonna text you good night before I leave, because I'm not going to bed. And if you hit me up while I'm out, I'm out. And if you don't go to sleep that night,
I'm still out.
when I get home, I'm
about
going
that's
to
on
sleep.
you.
When I go home, I'm going to sleep.
That's a stage
Not
that
thinking
I'm about
you.
to enter in.
Okay,
and
get
I'm
ready, girl.
fearful.
How you feeling?
But I
gotta-
think it
but
makes
you have
sense
to
when their
root
kids are
yourself.
teenagers and
You have to
stuff. I
root
think that makes
yourself, though,
sense.
like,
Yeah, that does make sense.
And you have to root yourself in anti-worry, however that looks like for you, whether that's comfort, whether that's calm, whether that's trust, whether that's faith. If you are a religious person, whatever you have to do, don't let yourself lose out on your own life and your
But
own health.
It's gonna
to
be
that
always
extent.
that feeling. If something was to happen, you're gonna feel like, as a mother, oh, I didn't do enough to
You know,
To not
but
look
but
at-
Or I have to be available. If something happens and you call me, I need to be able to jump into action in this moment, not like
But that's gonna
roll
be in you
over, check my
regardless.
missed calls, and I'm like, oh.
Well, no,
she called
nobody's
me,
saying
you know?
nobody's. I'm not even like that. I don't even have kids, but like I'm always available if y'all need me. Like
Yeah,
if y'all
exactly.
I put my phone on D&D and all that stuff, but everybody knows how to get through D&D. Dana did it yesterday with her ignorant fucking ass.
She did tell me.
Double
She-
called me so that my phone would ring. That was so rude.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I stopped what I was doing and I reached out to make sure that she was okay, and she was fucking fine.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I
exactly
mean?
she
Like, it doesn't mean like fuck them kids, but it's just like not leaving yourself in a constant state of worry. Like, be ready to act when it's time to act, but don't be worried when nothing's going on. Like, nothing's
I understand
happening.
that.
Like, nothing's happening. Just breathe.
I'm all for it. Korean go out. I'm gonna be like, let me know when she gets back.
I am gonna-
Like,
But while
I'ma
you wait for her to
be-
get back, be okay.
We gonna. I mean, well, I was just thinking more so on
Don't
the
be like my
like
mama,
the
y'all.
not sleeping aspect. Like, no, I don't want to. No,
Don't be like
now
my
I'm
mama.
not about to. I don't want to be like sick in the house, just like, oh my god, like what's happening? Like, I don't want to be like frantic.
crazy.
But as far as just that whole notion of like,
I love you, Mom.
I'm up, you know, until you get, especially while there are curfews and things. Now with you, that's different because you could come in at 5 a.m. for, you know, like that's a whole different thing. But when you got teenagers where you want some, you got to be home at 11
that's
o'clock,
different. Yeah,
or you got to be home at
sure.
12 o'clock. That like that's an easy fix.
But
'Cause
also,
if you're not
if-
in this
but
house
if
at
you
that
anything,
time,
like, if-
something is up. You know, something is
exactly.
wrong. So.
But again, there's no problem with you actually going to sleep, because then when you wake up and you look at the clock, and if you go and check in their room and they're not there, then you act. All I'm saying is until the time that something happens, don't leave yourself in a state of worry, because worry turns into stress, and stress turns into cancer. It's science.
Okay, got it.
No, okay, got it. And so the last one is, what is the most rewarding thing about being a mom?
I need this because y'all done put me right back on the not having kids.
The most
I
rewarding
want to hear the
thing,
answers.
it's just when my kids, like when my son, he comes up to me, he's like, "Mommy, I love you." Like, you know, just like hearing little things like that, and saying like, phew, he'll just say, just like the sweetest thing, like he'll walk up to me, he'd be like, "You look pretty today," or he'd be like, "You smell good," like stuff like that. I think that's very rewarding from him. My daughter, every time I cook, she'll say, "Thank you, Mommy." And I never thank my mama after every meal. And I thought that was so sweet of her, just to hear "thank you" every time I cook. And I'm like, you don't have to, you know, sometimes I used to think like, you know, you don't have to say it.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it, so I'm going to let her keep saying it.
Right.
But just those little things, or just like my daughter, when she talks to me, or because she can basically tell me what she appreciates about me and the conversations that we have. And I always tell her that, you know, if you can't talk to me, you can always talk to your father or Tatiana. I would rather her not tell me, like, if she really doesn't feel comfortable with talking to me, talk to her, because, you know, even if she doesn't come back, depending on what it is, even though she doesn't come back to tell me, I'm just like, you have to feel comfortable with talking to someone. And at this point in her life, she feels most comfortable with talking to me.
Right.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And they just do little things that surprise me every day. So by my daughter being 15, it's like I have kept you alive for 15 years.
That's
rewarding.
Like,
that is an accomplishment. Now my
For
son,
real, you did it.
he's 5. He got a long way to go.
That's amazing.
It's gonna fly by though.
It will fly by. So, what about you?
It's definitely the unconditional love. I think that is the most rewarding part. The fact that I have a person that is genuinely happy to see me every day and wants to be around me every day. Like, you know, any amount of time that like I'm willing to give her, I want to give her, like she wants it. Like she's always happy. If I'm mad at her, if I yell at her, if I snap at her, it doesn't change anything. She's the same person when she wakes up the next morning. Like she's just as happy. And I think, you know, it's different. You know, I feel like I have unconditional love from my parents, you know, too. I feel like, you know, I can come to my parents with anything, but it's just a different feeling when it's your child, when it's something that you made that came out of your body. It's just a different thing. And then also watching her grow, like watching her develop and become a person, and then watching her learn things that I didn't necessarily teach her, or just watching her like just pick up on certain things, or, you know, like now like she's reading. Like when she started first grade, you know, she couldn't really read. Like she knew certain words, but she couldn't really like read. But now, like doing homework with her, like watching her read books and just watching her read a book, you know, like that'll like bring tears to my eyes. Like, and I'm just like, oh, like you're fully functioning. Like, so there's proof here that I'm doing something right. Like even in my times when, you know, we are down or we are depressed or I am, you know, feeling like I don't have anything to give, it's like obviously I still did, because you know, you're great, you know. I'm like, you are the best piece of me, you know, that I have. So I think that's definitely the most.
Wow,
The
that's
most
really beautiful,
rewarding.
y'all.
That was amazing.
That is, that was all my questions in case you ladies had anything you wanted to say or ask or anything.
Pushed your
Oh, I thought you were about to
viewpoint
talk about my
in a different
pussy.
way.
You said what?
I thought you were about to talk about my pussy.
It can
She
push
was
a
like, I
baby
hope
out.
this pussy
I feel like it can push
brings
a baby
us
out.
a baby. No, it's helped. I definitely think nuance, right? You gotta, be open. But we'll see. I'm open to the way that life unfolds.
Yeah.
Right now, science is on my side. I've been on the pill for a long time, but after that,
Word.
who knows?
Never getting off. Never
getting
getting
off
off
this year.
Guys.
I'm excited. But
Sounds
we'll
great
talk.
for
Maybe we'll
you.
talk about that next episode.
That can take my whole year.
But yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you,
Yeah,
Tati, for
thank
leading an amazing
you.
episode. Kiki, thank you for coming. Do you want people to
Yes.
follow
You guys know all my best friends now.
Oh, yes.
You guys
Oh,
have met all
truly?
of my best
I am the
friends.
last one.
Yes.
Desmond's been here. That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's fun.
Yep.
Kiki, do you want the people to follow you? If so, tell them where.
You can follow me on
right.
Instagram. My name is 4i Chick on Instagram.
Sure.
I don't post many pictures, but
Number 4. You gotta
The
be
number
specific.
4.
The number
The
4.
number 4.
We'll put it
I
down below.
Chick.
Yeah, it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
And then on Facebook, I'm just my name, Kilwana Taylor.
Period.
So follow me.
Well, you all can do all the things that you've always done and follow us on the places. Oh, you know what? Update. I don't know, y'all. I don't know about Away with Words, the podcast page on
Make
Instagram.
a new one.
No way.
I'm
we
not
gotta
doing
get
that.
back in there. We have to get back in there.
I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna reach out.
Okay, you
Just like
you
what I
try.
thought,
You
yeah.
try.
I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna handle this.
I've appealed 4 times now. I haven't heard anything back. I've used several different email addresses just in case I just didn't know what email was used. I don't know, y'all. So if we never get back on Away with Words, the podcast page, y'all, I'm sorry. We did our best. Please follow
did our
us.
best.
We're gonna try.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not gonna stress. It's just social media. This shit is all about to burn to hell anyway. Sorry, not
yeah.
to be that person, but
Yeah.
But please continue to
Yeah.
follow us on all of our respective pages. That is Bree.stories on Instagram and Bree_stories on TwitTwat, as well as Aye Tati on Instagram and Hey Tati on TwitTwat. And you don't want to be playing yourself by not following at MJM Kid and at Moments_Stu. You just should. We had a lot of really cute stuff going on over there. I know it's prom season, graduation season, it's get flea season. So if you want to get those flicks of you being flea, then you need to hit up Moments too. I love y'all so much. We'll talk to you next week. Happy Mother's Day, and we'll see you then. Everybody say bye.
Bye.